Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're going to be solving question 33 and 34, and this is from the SAT number 17. This is the QAS test. I think it's from, April 2019, something like that. Okay, so let's jump in. First thing is we have a paired question here, so we have 33 and 34, which means we need to answer these together. So the way to start with this is, let's read the question for 33. This says, it can reasonably be inferred from the passage that Burke is particularly upset with the National Assembly's decision to do something. So here, a couple things to notice. One, we have this word inferred. Again, not to make too big a deal out of it. All this really does is tell us that the information we're going to look for, it may be a little less obvious than we're typically used to seeing. So it's just a signal for us to pay a little more close attention. So what we're going to do is go through the answer choices for 34 and look for a reason why Burke is particularly upset, or what decision from the National Assembly Burke is upset about. So let's go through them. So 5 to 10 says, but to form a free government, that is to temper together these opposite elements of liberty, etc., requires a sagacious, powerful, and combining mind. This I do not find in those who take the lead in the National Assembly. So this right here, the only thing that he's doing in this sentence is basically saying that if you want a free government that is also a government that provides freedom to its citizens, but also has some element of control, or at least some element of lawfulness and order, then you need to have powerful mind. You need to have a certain quality of character to be able to accomplish that. And he says, I do not find that in those who take the National Assembly. It's a criticism of them, but not something that he's particularly upset about their decision. Nothing about their decision. Then we have lines 10 to 13, which says, perhaps they are not so miserably deficient as they appear. I believe it would put them below the common level of human understanding. So this is a nice roast that Burke is giving to the National Assembly. Basically what he's saying is that they are not so deficient as they appear, because if they were, it would put them below the common level of human understanding. That's pretty good. That's pretty nice way. But the only thing that he's doing here is he's not really explaining a decision that they made that made him upset. It's not a good answer choice. Then we have 13 through 18, which is here. But when the leaders choose to make themselves bidders at an auction of popularity, their talents in the construction of the state will be of no service. They will become flatterers instead of legislators, etc., etc. So this right here, I think, could be a possibility, right? Because what he's saying is basically that the leaders of the National Assembly are making themselves bidders at an auction of popularity, which essentially means that what they're doing is they're making decisions and they're making choices and laws not based on not on their own judgment, based on what is going to be good management or good governance. They're making those decisions based on how popular they think the decision will be and sort of flattering the masses. So that's what that one means. It could be an option, right? He might be upset at that action that they're doing. Let's look at the last one, which is 49 through 51. That's down here. The improvements of the National Assembly are superficial. Their errors are fundamental. So this right here doesn't really tell us about a specific decision that's upsetting Burke. All it's really saying is that the improvements that they made, the good things about them, those are only surface level, but their errors go deep. The other thing is that this makes a big jump from 13 down to 49-51. It's not always the case, but a lot of times you'll find 3 answer choices that are clustered together, and then we'll jump to one that's sort of like outside of that little range. And typically this one is incorrect. I've seen alternative cases where that's not true, but typically I get a little skeptical when I see that pattern. Also, this is pretty early on in the series of questions. So the first question for this passage is 32. So these are the second questions basically after. So for us to be all the way in 49-51 is probably unlikely. So for that reason, D is out, B is out, A is out. And really C is the only thing that gives us a decision that the National Assembly made that Burke could be getting upset about. So let's go one more time and say, what is he upset about them for? Basically, he's upset that they make themselves bidders at an auction of popularity. He's upset that they become flatterers instead of legislators, that they become instruments, not the guides of people. So again, they're not leading the people. They're sort of catering to the people and following whatever their opinion is. Let's choose a choice that matches that. So he's upset with their decision to limit the king's power. Nothing about that. Expand the size of the government. Nothing about that. Seek the approval of the public. This pretty much matches what we were saying. Ignore the advice of former leaders. Nothing about that. So the only thing here is seek the approval of the public. So we choose answer choice C for 33 and answer choice C for 34.